digital. So, yeah. Okay, so let's start off. We always start off with this. We always believe that digital marketing is not just a channel. It's really an entire business model shift, some mindset shift. And today, what we want to do is to address how we as business leaders, whether we are a CEO or founder, marketing manager, or sales manager, or business development, right? All these people who are tasked to grow a business. What can we do to move our organization, especially if these organizations are older? How do we change that mindset? How do we equip ourselves? How do we bring our people from where we were to where we want to be in the future, which is digital focused, right? So let's start off with our first question that we want to address. How should CEOs and business owners think about business growth through digital marketing? Victor, you want to start off?
Yeah, I think a lot of times there might be a lot of questions from people who are contemplating to go digital, right? And then they think, yeah, I can use whatever I've done in the industry in the past, and I just treat it as a channel, right? And I'm going to put everything online. We're going to use the same metrics, especially when you see this a lot when it comes from a product perspective, manufacturing, owner-based kind of industry, right? So for me, I think the advice when you want to power business growth through digital is that you really got to understand the business model, especially when we talk about the metrics that are used to measure its effectiveness, and then see how you can actually so yeah, basically see how you can actually apply that to your business. Justin, we talked to a few examples which we'll show later, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Justin, what Justin has put in this slide is that if we take the context of the manufacturing product end, right? Because a lot of your maybe in a trading business or a manufacturing business, you have an actual product to do, but in digital, it's slightly different, right? Why or how different it is if you look at from a business models, like whether you're a manager or CEO, business owner, your conventional business or financial metric would make you focus a lot on these examples here, like what's cost per unit, gross margins, revenues, net profits. It can be quite short term if we think of it this way, especially when you are a public run company, right? Even worse, you're judged quarter to quarter based on this very, very conventional business metrics. The fundamentals are there, you're correct, it has to be a profitable business at the end of the day, obviously, right? But if you look at it from a digital business angle, a lot of them will make your head scratch. You know, why can they lose money? Why do they still have so much funds? Is that because it's just longer term in nature? And unfortunately, for most, I would say even for individuals, people or business, it's harder to plan for the longer term. In digital business, we look at things like cost per customer acquisition, customer lifetime value, which we speak a lot about in the previous sessions, right? This can actually, just looking at this different metrics from a different business angle can actually change your entire way of doing business, whether it's from a sales or marketing angle. So we give you an example, right? Is it in the next slide, Justin? Yeah, I think most people would know about Tesla, right? For those who don't know, then you put an aha there. Because Tesla is basically a electronic vehicle manufacturer, right? Where they do a hybrid, fully electric cars, yes, fully electric cars in the US. They manufacture their own vehicles. Now, why is this different compared to, let's say, your Toyotas, your BMWs, or even your Myvis, right? Perdua, Proton in our local context. So because they take this digital model where they can actually sell all the products online, right? So that allows them to reach directly to the consumer, and they can even say, cut down all dealers, get the discounts to your end consumer at the end of the day. They can even do pre-orders. I think you'll have heard of the pre-orders that Elon Musk, which is the founder of Tesla, used to run. And they can get cash, and they know what's the demand from there. So this is a fairly good example. Why? Because a lot of people think like, oh, cars, I can't sell online, But it's not just about selling online, right? One, yes, it changes the business model online because you don't have to deal with dealers anymore. If you see like you have a Toyota workshop today or Toyota dealer, you still walk into dealers and you buy a car. But in Tesla's own mindset is that I don't have to actually share the cost of sales with a dealer. I can build it out myself. Is it going to be more costly in the beginning? Yes, but they probably worked it out to say, okay, I don't have to share that revenue, whether it's servicing, parts, I can make up for it in the entire lifetime of the customer. Even if it gets resold, they still come back to me because I'm still servicing the end customer who's driving it at the end of the day. So we're not talking only about that sales model. It also affects after sales service. So today, if your car gets recalled, right, you send it to the dealer, right? The dealer does whatever he wants to do with it. But in Tesla's case, everything is on a software digital model, right? Because they build the car up from ground up, they redesign the entire thing. If they need to do a firmware upgrade, they can actually do it like a phone, where you can push the updates off to the car, and then the car will run through the firmware upgrade itself. And you may suddenly discover you have new functionalities. Your car is faster. Your aircon is, I don't know, with better filter for the COVID kind of situation. So these are the kind of things where you can reimagine the entire business model or segment, right? By using the inherent advantage of digital, right? So that is one of the good examples that I like to show up on how is it like that you require to change your mindset in terms of whether you're a manager, CEO, or even business development, like Justin said. So what about you, Justin? What's your take on this part here?
Yeah, if I were to bring it back to a more local approach, I always see the thing I always hear is people think digital marketing can work for everyone else except them, right? Or it works for software companies, it works for e-commerce, but and all this. But these are my favorite examples of traditional products. Of course, Joby is Victor's, right? So these are examples of traditional products, really traditional products. Oxwhite sells white shirts, white freaking shirts, right? Peanut butter, right, from Joby, and car mats. So all these are super normal, conventional products, but they change it into a digital business model. What's the difference between their companies and all the other massive brands, those conventional brands out there? The core difference, of course, their products are great, right? It is good. It has its own unique selling points or whatever, not own set of qualities. But the core difference here, because everyone else has their own qualities as well. The main thing is we talk about business models. We are looking at a different kind of approach where a conventional business, they want to acquire sales through the largest margin channels, right? A manufacturer has to mark up a certain bit to the wholesaler, to the distributor, they have to mark up again, and to the retailer, and the retailer needs at least a 50% margin. That comes out to a pretty hefty price tag at the end of the day. Then what next? They play economies of scale, right? Invest into bigger manufacturing, bigger factories, and all this. So they are very focused on sales. They need that kind of margin. Why? They don't know if that customer will ever come back, because they are focused on getting the product out to all the different distribution channels. But that was relevant back then, right? When the industrial revolution came and people start having big malls and all this commercialization, it makes sense. But now is a time of digital, it's time of the internet, right? E-commerce is becoming so common now. And I think it's just is a need, right? It's a desperate need to change because it's no longer about big boys winning. Now, in a digital business, the difference is in a digital business model, the companies I showed you just now, they are not in there to just acquire sales. They're there to acquire customers. What's the difference between that? They may not even make a margin, right, in the first sale. They may even lose money just to get a customer inside their database. Why? The moment you come in, I get permission to market to you. I get your data, I get your behavior, I know you tried, I know I can speak to you. And because of that, I can remarket to you. I can get you to buy more, I can get you to buy other things, and I can get you to buy more frequently so that I can maximize the entire customer lifetime value. When that happens, my margins don't even have to be that big, right? I can give top quality products, lower my margin, give a competitive price like Oxwhite, or like people like Joby, they give top-notch quality products so that their customers rave over that. Why can they do that? Why can they afford to do that? It's because they know they don't have to go through all these different distribution channels and go direct to consumer. So that's my take on how a business leader should do. Yeah, so if anything to add, Victor?
Not really. I think the once you can change that or leverage on the advantages of a digital business model, you may find that your even entire manufacturing process can be turned upside down. So you brought up the point about Joby. I'm not here to sell Joby, but that's very close to my heart. Then I can relate it to you all very easily, right? So for example, a lot of times we are in a production environment, right? So the traditional route is you do some R&D and then you launch a new flavor. But in our case, we have actually launched a new flavor last week. It's called Monkey King. You have some crispy coconut into it. So those here, go and check it out. But what I wanted to really say is that when we went to the manufacturer, right, and because we have partners that we need to fine tune the flavor with, right, and we say, we want this flavor with this ingredients, right, this set of ingredients, and because they've been in the industry for like 20, 30 years, their advice to us is, no, you don't order so much, okay? Play it safe, you order the MOQ. But when we came to them, we're saying, look, we need this amount of raw materials right now. I can even place a 6-month order with you. And to them, it's like, how can you be so sure? Because you haven't even got any sales yet. And the last launch was, I think about a year or 2 years ago, right? We have very, very, very limited run. But we were quite confident. Why? Because in the website, it's still listed out of stock, but people can still view it, right? So we sort of extrapolate from there to say, okay, if there's like 10,000 people viewing it per month, even at a 1% conversion rate, we know these are kind of orders that are going to come by, right? Worst case scenario. If not, we can sort of keep it and sell it across, 6 months or 1 year time, right? And after we knew that, then we just came back to the manufacturer and say, hey, look, we're going to sign a contract with you, and then we need this amount of raw materials. And they until today, they never understand it, right? So we had to push them to adhere to our business model. It's like we got to upgrade our partners' mindset to bring them into our business model. So sometimes you may discover those kind of things in your business. It wouldn't be business as usual anymore. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so should we go to the next one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this is a question we always get. How can marketing managers or people in charge of marketing per se, right? How can they transition digital marketing? How can they embrace digital marketing smoothly, gracefully, right? I think Shelley also asked, what's the basic setup, right? How can we do this? So yeah, Victor, what's your thoughts?
It's like a lot of times when we speak to marketing managers, right? They're used to doing their events marketing, their traditional channel, retail marketing, sampling and all this. And they just don't understand digital, correct? I'm sure you went through a lot of ad agencies. Before I give my comments and answer on this, it's like, what about you? Because you are running the ad agency, you know? So I mean, I used to do that, not so often now. But what is the usual challenges that they will say, hey, why can't I go digital right now?
Usual challenges. Their main challenge is always their boss. Their boss don't believe, like spend tons of money on like billboards, right? Traditional newspapers, you know. Like I say, what's the ROI on that? ROI is
Right.
your face, loh, right? You got a billboard there, wow, you got a full page ad.
The image technically is true.
Yeah, it's true. But how does that quantify in the sales? Don't know. You know,
Yeah.
how does that how does that generate an ROI? Don't know. It works lah because we are so big, what? I guess it works lah, you know. So
Yeah. But I mean, those are for skeptical. And what about those who already believe but they don't know where to start? You know, they say, okay, I gotta get into digital, but what do I do? You know, I don't have a plan, right? That's why this question is talking about, right?
yeah. So people who want to go into digital but cannot. I think the main thing is expertise, manpower, right? Like who do I hire? Like marketing executives that come out of college, come out of uni, right? Degree in marketing, has no digital marketing expertise whatsoever. You know,
Right.
where do I learn this? And how come people can build digital business? But where do we learn? Yeah, I think expertise is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understand. And I agree. So why I asked you that is because a lot of times marketing managers, especially those who have no digital exposure, they will say, you know, I want to go into digital. I have no idea. Do I outsource? Do I do it myself? Do I train staff? Right? Yeah. So this is one of the many few options. So to me, my advice is very simple. I think we should all just focus on what our competencies are, right? Yes, you may be a marketing manager with no digital experience, but you do have a few things on your side, right? So for example, you may know how the industry works. You may know the persona of your industry, your buyers. You know how to do your budgeting, planning, right? So those are the kind of skill sets where digital marketers may not have, right? And for me, whether you're going to hire or whatnot, you will have to just trust that person. So my take on this is that if you can afford, right, pay a fair amount to whether it's an outsourced agency or hiring a manpower. But for me, my personal preference is I would like to have things in-house. So I would advise is that even if you were to hire a graduate or someone with at least 1 year of experience, a digital native, they can learn fast enough, right? Get it? Because they will know more than you do, right? And you take that 6, 7 months or 1 year and just let them execute, and you just absorb all that digital knowledge from them. Tell them what to do, but you know, don't restrict them. You just give it. You say, okay, I'm not going to touch anything. You're going to learn it, or if you have experience with campaigns, just execute it. This is the budget, and then just get out of their way. Because what they know in the digital arena is probably going to be 100 times more than what you already know if you come from a non-digital background. So my advice is just trust them, right? Give them a framework, you know, budgets, where your approvals are and all this, yes, but don't restrict them to the point where they can't do their job effectively, right? So that's my advice, right? For those who can get in-house stuff. For those who cannot, I would really say just pay a good expert to do it because you got to focus on what you're good at. You're good at the planning side. And these digital marketers, whether they're agencies, consultants or whatnot, they've spent 2-3 years refining that thread, right? I like to always put this example is like, what you call this? It's like if your car has a problem, do you go to a mechanic a service center or do you fix it yourself, right? So it depends on what you are trying to achieve. But most of the time, we will send it to a mechanic or service center. So why is it different here when it comes to digital marketing? You have a problem which you cannot solve unless you do know something about it, then you should actually relate it to the expert. But of course, later, how do you determine good or not good employees or outsourced people? Then we can address that later. Yeah. So that's my take on things, Justin.
Okay, so I think on my part, when it comes to hiring in-house, I truly believe hiring in-house is superior to hiring an agency, right? Just the amount of control, the amount of execution you can come up with, and also the cost effectiveness. But I think one biggest challenge of why people don't hire in-house is because the leader the business leader or the marketing manager just don't have that kind of skill set to lead or to empower that kind of digital change, right? And getting a junior in to execute on, like, so I was doing this, right? Having a marketing manager and then you hire a designer, a content writer, ad buyer, or you want to hire a 4-in-1, chances are they're not going to be expert in anything also, right? So then when you want to hire experts in each and then it gets more and more expensive, you can if your revenues are huge, or if you are a skilled marketing manager and you have the capability to train them. But where does an agency come in? An agency comes in really when you don't actually need a full-time designer. You don't actually need a full-time content writer. You just don't have that much content. So what we're doing is have an agency which, with their strategies, their SOPs, and all this, they bring in all this talent and then share out fractionally to their different clients. That's where the cost savings come from a client's perspective as well. My full disclaimer here is I still believe agencies cannot do as good a job as an in-house marketer, right? Because agencies will never fully understand or immerse themselves in your business direction. It's just not possible, of course, unless you are top level agency with 30 people servicing your one account. Okay, that one different. But if you're talking about fractional sharing agencies for SMEs, right? Chances are agencies are there to start you off, to scale you to a certain level. And good agencies will empower back your team and make it a hybrid model, which I'll talk a bit about it later, right? To help you get on your feet to start off your digital marketing journey. Yeah.
So I guess to sort of summarize both our common ground, because it's quite different from my answer, right? But I guess the common ground here is that if you can afford it, either hire someone or outsource it to an expert, right?
Yes.
Well, of course, I think there might be people who actually do have time. If you do have time, then yes, you can self-learn, but it will take you time and it will take you some investment. Maybe the investment is not coming from a human resource perspective, but your ads dollars that you're probably going to waste as some tuition fees.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think time spent as well. Some people don't see the costs associated with time to learn it.
Yes.
Okay, shall we move on?
Yes.
Okay, so building digital marketing teams within companies. So let's say, okay, I want to hire internally. I want to train my own employees to do it. What do we do? How do we make that happen correctly?
Okay, this one I have a very contentious answer to this. Is that I think it's nearly impossible to build it within the company. Nearly impossible. Okay, not impossible, but nearly impossible, because teaching digital skills, unless you come pre-equipped with it, is tantamount to changing behavior. So it's very, 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 very hard. If you really want to embark on a digital journey, or you want to remake your business model to digital, right? I would suggest either you work with a new team or you hire someone or a group of people, right, who's got some experience, or who is a fast learner, but very tech savvy, digital native people, right? Yes, I'm generalizing, but people usually under the age of like, the younger they are, the easier they are to learn things, so they adapt faster. Okay, it's not impossible, like I said, to catch up, but it's, in my experience, I have tried to even get my own personal teams in the previous businesses just to get good Excel analytical skills. And trust me, it's hard. Not everybody can do a formula out, advanced formula, right? So I would really say just hire if possible. If you can't hire, start with people who you really, really trust, and give them a big enough incentive, whether it's a stake in the business unit or some performance metric, to make sure that they will achieve whatever you need to do from the digital metric perspective. Measure them on the metrics. But I'm just going to take that stand to here. I say it's really hard to build it within the company if you're not hiring new people, or if you're not bringing a new set of training that will take a very, very long time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's possible to be suddenly skilled in digital just like that. But I think over time it's possible. But I don't think we have time, right? If you want to really scale fast. Yeah. So my thought on it would be, I think the internal team, whether you're the CEO or the marketing exec or the salesperson, doesn't matter. The whole company must understand digital strategy, must adopt a digital mindset, must at least understand what's possible with digital, right? You don't have to be an expert in Facebook ads. You don't have to be an expert in all this, but I think it's important to understand what's lifetime value, how does social media work, right? What sponsored ads? I think it's important for people to know all this stuff, and important to understand the possibilities of it. Then adopt we call it a hacking mindset, right? Like hack your way through. I mean, yeah, I experiment a lot with like different stuff, just trying out. Oh, it works like that. Oh, this kind of ads, like we were talking about TikTok ads, right? Like that. I mean, that's for us. That's our kind of experiments where we try stuff that people don't even touch yet, right? But for you, you could be trying out what Facebook ads, putting a small budget in to get it done, right? Then as you get started, get your feet wet, then hire execution specialists. You would start to say, hey, I think my designs need to get better. I think Facebook ads, we don't have the time to do this. Let's get someone to do it better and get it off of my workload. Or people who are good in email marketing or video production, all these kind of whatever execution specialists. They don't have to be experts in digital marketing, but they may be graphic designers, right? They execute designs on a mass scale. Then as you have this execution team, you can start looking into high-level digital strategies, digital marketing managers to handle all these people. Then eventually you have a full team of digital marketing specialists.
But this is only if you have the time and resource to experiment with it, isn't it? Correct?
Yes.
I mean, if let's say you want to launch something within a year, may not be possible, correct? So I don't know. I take the very, like I said, it's still quite contentious on this. I take the approach that you need a team in the beginning during your business plan already. Whether that A team is coming from an internal or external party, like an outsourced party that will slowly transition, where your new team can learn and shadow over time, right? But I always believe that you need to have a winning plan with a winning resource placed as early as possible. If you're trying to hack it with current, like what Justin recommended, not impossible, very hard, and chances of failure is also very high. So if you're willing to take that risk, I think it's okay. But if you really want it to win, make sure the foundation is right. Start with the right team and with the right resource. So actually in a lot of business, which I have turned down from my experience, a lot of people actually want to collaborate and all last time with AXP, which I did turn down because they were not willing to put in the money, right? As in, when we did it, we make sure we had a 1-year plan, 1-year financial commitment. Do we have enough team? They only think about, oh, I just need to hire a digital guy or someone who has digital experience and that guy will handle everything. But no, because you gotta, like that chart you show, right? You gotta have a graphics designer, you gotta have your digital marketer, you have gotta have your product person to take care of that experience on the buying experience and all this. So at least you're looking at 3 to 4 people. And that actually in our traditional term constitutes as a spin-off or a separate business unit already, right? So you have to treat it as a separate business unit to give it the best chance of success. That's my take on things, especially when you're really starting it anew. And of course, you can treat it as a marketing channel, there's no problem. But why treat it as a marketing channel when it can be a whole different way of doing business, right? No right, no wrong. Just you need to be very clear of the objective. Every time I talk about it, it's really from a new business unit or new business model perspective.
Yeah, okay, I get what you mean. New business unit, whether people are willing to take that risk or not, right? It's a whole different effort of doing that.
Yeah. Hey, Michael has some question here, which is quite relevant. It says, would a mentor or coach be helpful to start from ground zero? I think definitely. It can help you avoid a lot of potential pitfalls, a lot of cost savings, in fact, if they've got the right experience in your particular industry somehow. And Justin, do you find a mentor or coach helpful for Michael's question?
For sure. Especially when it comes to rethinking business. I think a mentor will be helpful in any case, right?
Okay, Chris, we will answer your question later. Yeah, on the differences between selling traditional physical product, and selling a digital product digitally. Cool.
So yeah, just point to some resources that Victor mentioned just now also. Things like Google Ads, Facebook Ads, that's the default ones. Where Google and Facebook have their own courses. If you want to equip your people, right? Marketing automation, we are Sharp Spring partners in Southeast Asia. We truly stand behind and believe this product. Landing pages, building it from templates and all. Nowadays it's super easy to get landing pages up, right? Just learning from tutorials, you can just get it done. One course that I really like for advanced Facebook ads will be this one called BPM method. It's by Dipesh. Dipesh is a Facebook advisor in UK. He sits on the Facebook board of advisors. So yeah, these are some of the resources I would go to learn, just to get started or get my feet wet in digital marketing. Okay, should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. How to hire an outsourced digital agency, set them up for success. Okay, let me put a context here first. Many times people get burned by digital marketing agencies. And sometimes it's not the digital marketing agency's fault. Right? It's just, sometimes people just don't click, or the agency, okay, to be fair, a lot of agencies are terrible at their job, but there are still a lot of good agencies out there. But sometimes they don't succeed because clients are not allowing them to work the way they should work. Okay, that's what I will argue. So yeah, Victor, you have any thoughts on this first?
Yeah, I think you're putting it into context good because you know, even me, before starting the ad agency, I'm a self-taught marketer like you also, right? My first business was I did my own Google ads and all this, and I also hired an agency which we paid quite a significant sum. And back then, I mean, and now still, I always believe in paying for quality work. So we paid them with high enough budget. I think this was 5 years back, 3 to 5 years back, and we paid them and about 30% of the ad fees, right? Ad spend, yeah. And our monthly ad spend was 10,000 ringgit and above, yeah. So it's quite significant for that time. Now it's like okay because some people spend up to 50,000 a month, right? So back then it was quite significant, and we were their top 20 or 30 client, right? And they still did just the basic job, which I need to tell them what to do at the end of it. So I don't actually have a very good experience with outsourced digital agency 9 out of 10 times. They really give you the basic stuff, which you can already find online and all. But I would give 2 advice when we're looking for outsourced digital agency. One is make sure that they have what do you call this? Experience in your industry. So if they have clients already in your industry, that's something you really, really find hard to buy, you know, because not a lot of agencies, for example, has marketing experience in, say, the childcare industry, the music industry, or the auto mechanic industry. Each industry has its own nuances, your buyer behavior, your targeting. I mean, you won't believe it. We used to run in AXP. We sort of cornered the car tinting market, you know, last time.
I remember.
So yeah. Justin was a partner back then, and then we brought him along together for some of the agencies which we couldn't some of the accounts that we couldn't handle. So, but each of them, right, have their own terminology in the tinting business world, right? You say, okay, this tint cannot be more than a certain percentage. If you market more than 1,000 ringgit tint, if I do a 3M color tint, then people will respond better. So those kind of stuff is really hard to get. If you have someone or agency which have lots of experience, this can be shown through case studies. So I would say that experience, pay for that, right? Judge them on that experience. You can ask them if they can explain to you and give you guidance. That's very good. Now, the second one, I would say my second advice on how to get a good agency is that they will show you a lot of case studies. Yeah, this is the point that Justin put aside. So they put a lot of case studies and they will give you these fantastic numbers, right? Oh, I have helped this client achieve 100% ROI in 6 months or 3 months. I have got them to the #1 spot in 6 months, right? You hear all of these kind of cases, but you have to put it into context and you question them. That is the most important thing. Don't just take the numbers by default. A lot of times, all these numbers are significant is because why? The clients that start, I mean, right? If you have no digital ad, right? Of course, your ROI is going to shoot up 500% if you're starting from ground zero. So if you're managing it themselves, they've been spending 100 ringgit per day. Someone comes along and say, okay, you know, from our experience, you gotta spend 1,000, right? 10x all their numbers. So it doesn't make just look at the envelope without scrutinizing the data and the context. That would be the 2 advice I would say, general rule of thumb to find a good what you call this outsourced agency. Yeah. So that's my take as a client, both as a some customer who has what about you, Justin? You from the agent. So
I think on my side, yeah, I really agree with Victor when he said scrutinize their case studies. Sorry, is my internet breaking?
yeah, just now you were on pause for a moment.
Okay. So yeah, I will say scrutinize their case studies. It's an industry secret, I would say, right? To put this kind of fabricated numbers because we technically are not lying, right?
Yeah.
You had 5 sales, now I bring it to 10 sales, it's 100% increase, but it's just 10 sales, you know? So scrutinize their case studies, ask them the absolute numbers. when you said 100%, what was it before? What was it after? What did you do? You know, could it have been things that was easily done? Was that 5 sales easily achieved? You know, so all these things have to matter. Then you also need to understand digital strategy when it comes to, let's say, sales. Do they have strategies put in place to maximize lifetime value? You know, all these things are real questions that you can ask, right? So I think when you qualify agencies, you
Okay, Justin? Oh, it was you. Okay,
yes.
you're on mute. Yeah. I was thinking it was my connection. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
So yeah, I think when you scrutinize, like qualify an agency, I think you need to make sure they understand business, and better if they understand your industry. They not so much on their Facebook ads experts and Google ads experts. So there's a limit to how much expertise they can have in those technical specializations, right? But what is going to bring your marketing to the next level is really how they understand business growth, how they understand marketing strategy, how they understand business strategy, and how they implement that back into digital. So I think that's an even more important factor to note. I had a thought on this, sorry. Okay, never mind. So I think another thing to look at when we hire agency, right? I always believe in a hybrid model. Like as an agency, when we take on clients, we work best when they actually already have internal marketing team, right? They have maybe a marketing exec or one marketing manager, but they don't want to hire a full team. Then they outsource the strategy to us. They just do the designing and copywriting. They outsource the strategy of scaling your ads and all those to us. Or the other way around, they have in-house strategies. They know what they want. They have a clear marketing strategy, but they need someone to do their social media posts. They need someone to do their emails, you know. So they outsource that to an expert to do that. So it depends on where your strength is internally. So you have to identify that as well. And then outsource the part where you think it makes more sense cost-wise or expertise-wise to bring it outside. So that's my thoughts on hiring a digital agency.
Yeah, I think be very clear on the objective, right? So if your objective is just outsourcing the execution, make sure you are the person who takes care of the strategy, like Justin mentioned. But if you know you can execute those things internally, like you have a graphics designer, maybe your graphics designer already doing the labels, right? All he's doing is some picture images and whatnot. Then make it very clear that, okay, you know, I can do the execution, but I can't figure out this business model stuff on digital and whatnot. And then let the agency become a partner to lead that angle. You gotta look at it from a partnership perspective.
Yes. One more thing. Not every agency, no matter how good they may not be suited for you. Right? Different agencies have different strengths and they play to different clients. So like for me, I never succeed with insurance agencies as clients. Right? So I'll reject them from day one. I say, sorry, I cannot serve you because I don't know how to. Right? I've tried, I cannot. So I'm honest about it. But there are many agencies who are so salespeople, like, you can. How much you want to spend? 1,000 ringgit, come. Whoever, they just grab. So they become the largest agencies in Malaysia. But quality, do they actually produce quality?
Yeah. I think I have that experience too. For some reason, we have never been able to service very well on florist clients or people who deal with flower on our end.
Okay.
So I mean, the flower business is really, really big and a lot of subscription actually. But I just don't know why. No matter the best we do, we put in all this digital model concepts and all this, right? It never works. I have no idea. Maybe it's just a lot of emotional marketing when it comes to flowers.
Possible. Then don't be wowed by big awards. Right? There are a lot of award-winning agency. Awards has its place, but that shouldn't be your main defining factor. Most of the time, there are certain things that they fulfill based on sales targets or whatever that they move. They get those accolades, right? But really choose based on suitability. What suits you as a business? Okay, I think we have one more question. Okay, you have anything more to add on this?
No, that's all. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So last part, how to empower salespeople to embrace digital to convert more sales with less effort. So let me set up the context again. I've actually approached clients where they reject digital because they're so salespeople focused that they are scared that digital marketing replaces salespeople. They cannot afford to replace salespeople, right? They're scared to lose their job, so no digital marketing. Let me do the sales. But on the other side, yes, there's always a disconnect between the marketing team and the sales team, right?
Yes,
marketing team generate the leads, then salespeople don't close, then no one reaches the target. The boss says, who's fault? Marketing point and sales point and marketing, right? How do we merge that in together? How do we bring marketing results and tie it in with sales results? Yeah, and that's an answer for that, really. Okay, yeah, pick up.
I think for me, my interpretation of this question is really about the low adoption of tech and digital when it comes to sales, involving sales people, right? There's a lot of barriers of adoption and even objection to having anything digital because there's always two conceptions from sales as a sales manager in the past before and also speaking to a lot of sales manager, sales executives as well. They will treat whatever digital we put, whether it's software or anything, right, as a method to track their performance, right? Hang on, sorry, let me just do a quick one. Yeah. So they treat it more of a tracking tool. Okay. So where I think before we even talk about the CRM software, marketing tools, bringing the team together is how do we ensure that salespeople will adopt, whether it's digital or your CRM software, in a more how would I put it, in a more encouraging manner, right? So the way I see it is that for salespeople to embrace digital, the sales manager will probably need to talk with the sales team on changing the mindset first, right? And if the mindset is to say, we are helping you shorten the sales cycle, right? We are helping you to get more qualified leads, then they will listen. If not, because sales is all, salespeople are salespeople as the term say, right? So we're all very driven by what sales we're going to quote. So you have to put it in the sense that it is going to help with them, right, to convert more sales rather than just a tracking tool. So maybe Justin, you can share from your end first, and then I will put in mind on how we actually help. So,
okay. My perspective on it, right? Okay, so marketing and sales, I would think I would say the key to getting them to embrace digital is really to like what you say just now, to help them understand that this is to help them, not to replace them, right? We always talk about when it talks about, okay, let me just jump into this. Okay, so we need to sell them the why, the vision of how digital actually helps sales, right? When digital is implemented, the first thing I will tell them is spend less time prospecting, less time nurturing, less time cold calling and meeting new prospects who are far from closing a sale yet, but spend more time on building relationships with the people that really matter and closing them, right? Ultimately, that actually leads to more satisfaction because you are closing more deals, close, instead of cold calling, right? So when we say focus more on closing deals, then what about prospecting and nurturing part? That part you should leave it to marketing, right? So very often in Malaysia, right, I always see people's name card, sales and marketing executive, like, wow, you're quite multi-purpose, right? So I really think it's a very different function, very different duty, but it's very integrated. Where marketing should focus on prospecting, generating the leads, bringing people, getting the attention, building the brand, bringing people into to your funnel, to your pipeline, to your database, really. Then nurture them automatically, right? Follow up with them automatically. Use digital means to track them. Later, Victor will share a bit more about that. And when that happens, right, it's actually cheaper to deploy this kind of technology than to expand your sales and marketing team, sales and marketing execs, right? 10 people, 20 people, pay them deep commission so that they can get more sales. Their time is limited. Their focus is limited, right? And when they are asked to focus on so many things, it doesn't work. So cheaper to deploy technology to help them with the prospecting and nurturing, get them to close sales, and it helps them to actually double their sales force productivity, double their focus on getting that sale. And with digital, as you say, everything can be tracked. So now you can manage your sales team with clarity. Right? In XP, we practice pipeline management, sales management. How many leads come in? How many actually converted into a proposal? Do people? Why aren't they converting? Are they stuck at proposal stage? Is it the pricing? You know, these are questions we can ask, and the sales person cannot even come up with excuses because it's all there, right? It's managed. It's clearly shown on pipeline view, right, digitally. So that's how marketing really helps sales.
Yeah. So I think for me is that we have to sort of squash this notion that digital will replace the salesperson. It's not going to replace in an industry which you require salesperson to close. So for example, right, if you look at insurance, you still have a lot of people selling insurance today because it's a very, very big purchase and requires a lot of explanation. The more complicated your product is, the larger your purchase. I'm pretty sure the human interaction needs to be there. Maybe today in COVID situation, you don't need to meet them up. Still, you can do a Zoom call. But human interaction, that explanation is still very important. So we can't remove that. But how do we make it efficient when we come into digital besides just like Justin said, nurturing them? These are a few things that are quite standard in a good CRM or good marketing tool that embraces digital as default nature, So these are the few examples which, if you don't have a tool in your organization today that gives you this, right, your competition will have an edge. So let's see like what kind. One is understanding the customer behavior. So can your client, before you talk to the client, if I tell you, if you're talking to a salesperson or sales team, right, if you can tell them, you say, hey, what if before you call them up, you can actually go and see, did they download a material? Did they visit a particular page? When was the last time they opened your email? When was the last time they looked at a product page? So we call this behavior tracking. And in most good tools today, whether it's CRM or marketing tools like marketing automation, right? You've got all this information, but are you using it or not? So if you tell a salesperson this, I can guarantee you, most salesperson will think that this is a godsend, because technically, before I talk to the prospect, I really understand half of what their true intention is. So imagine, right, if Justin is, I always like to use the BMW example. So if Justin, right, walks in and then tells me, hey, I want to buy BMW 5 Series, can you quote me on that? So if I'm a salesperson, in traditional terms, I would quote him the 5 Series. That's what you want, give the customer what he wants, right? But if I can have a tool like this to tell me, hey, before the appointment, I'm going to check Justin out, and he looks a lot like 3 Series, but why is he asking for the 5 Series? So I may tune that conversation towards to him to say, hey, Justin, instead of looking at the 5 Series, I think you may you want to start off with a 3 Series first. That's like our best-selling sedan, you know, and there's a lot of promotions going on here. So I'm addressing his true nature without needing to dig that info from him, right? I can interpolate. It may not be correct, but at least you know the intention. So that is something that can be done now, but not traditionally. So that's one aspect of it, right? Now, the second thing is I always like to try and remove a lot of inefficiencies from the daily life of a salesperson. One of the problems, if I don't know how many people are salespeople here, if anybody is a business owner, you're a salesperson, you should just like raise a hand in Zoom and then we'll see how many people are in face-to-face kind of sales people. Okay, so just put sales lah. I'm just gonna do some interaction here. Sales, right? I have done sales. Okay, so if you've done sales before, one of the biggest problems is that you need to actually report your pipeline number, your projected sales, whether it's to you, to your shareholders, or you're doing your own business planning, right? Now, what if I tell you you don't have to do all those kind of things, and then you can just visualize in a pipeline view itself, or where those sales stage are, and the system actually does categorizes automatically for you. Sounds like crazy, right? But actually, yes, it is available today without you needing to do too much data entry. So if you can do a pipeline view, that itself does not save you how much time, right? Yeah. So one example is what Justin is showing you. So if you put in and enter all this system, it will tell you how much deal is stuck at which stage, what you can do, so that sales reviewer becomes a much more meaningful conversation. You know, you're not asking like, Justin, how much are you going to close this month? No, the question is not that. The question will be, hey, Justin, I see there's like in this example in the screenshot, there's price negotiation. There's like 18,000 stuck there. What can we do to help you to move to a sales closure rate? Where is your objection? Then that is helping the salespeople already. It's not just saying, you know, this is your quota, go achieve your sales quota, whatnot. So yeah, so that's my end when we talk about adoption, easing that adoption from the salespeople. We got to speak their lingo, try and remove a lot of inefficiencies, and then you see the user adoption. They'll be more open to having this kind of new initiatives if they can see that benefit. We got to speak their lingo in their terms, their benefits.
Anything more?
No.
Okay, so yeah, so that's our little take on how marketing can help sales, right? So if I were to summarize that, I think marketing should help sales increase efficiency by reducing redundancies, right? Help sales to focus on building relationships, most important. Build relationships, close the deal, build relationships, close the deal. Get the sale down the pipeline. Let marketing do the automated job. Let digital do the automation of follow-ups, so that when the prospect comes out the other side of the pipeline, the salespeople are ready to close them, right? So yeah, that's our take on marketing and sales. I think we talked about this part. Lead scoring as well. Scoring them according to how hot they are, how much they interact with you, with your brand, how often they come back to your website. You can actually score them and say, oh, this one is a hot lead, I should follow up with them first.
It's basically helping salespeople prioritize who to follow up with, right? Again, in the past, this is something that you cannot do. You just probably follow up with them by who called in last, and then work your way back to who called in earlier, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we come to our end of our presentation. Should we move to Q&A?
Yes.
Okay, let's move to Q&A. So I think we have a couple of questions. So let's get to that. I don't have the initial questions because I got disconnected. So you need to.
Okay. Chris had an earlier one. It says, what are the differences between selling a traditional physical product digitally and selling a digital product digitally? So if I give an example, basically what Chris is asking is, in my context, right? How do I sell, say, a peanut butter digitally versus selling a software digitally? So the product is different. One is a digital product, one is a physical product, but both I'm trying to sell digitally. What is the difference? Okay, so I'm going to put my take on this first. Now, we always go back to the business model, right? We say, and this will actually affect your sales and marketing strategy. If you're doing a physical product, you're still constrained by a cost structure. Every physical product, there is a cost to it that either you send out or you have to manufacture, or you have to store in your warehouse, right? So you have to take that into account where it comes to your sales and marketing strategy. Now, if you do a 100% digital product, you can be more flexible actually when you think about your sales and marketing strategies, all right? And the best example I can put is that imagine if you were giving a free trial of your product or service online. One is more scalable, which is the digital product. Physical product, you need to account for a budget. And you always need to account for your delivery fees and storage fees and all these kind of things. Returns and your cost of a digital product, by all means, run with it. Have on hand. Sorry, I think my connection was a bit bad. Sorry, can you hear me, Justin?
Yes, I'm not sure it was yours or mine.
It was mine. It was mine. Okay. So I had a call coming in. So basically, what I was trying to say is that don't be constrained about what I just mentioned, right? Have a more open approach, because just because you're selling a physical product doesn't mean you need to have a physical sales and marketing strategy in today's world, especially when we talk about digital, right? If you go to best example, right? If you go to Instagram, if you all have Instagram accounts, right? That's the stickers you put in, correct? So Joby, we internally do this GIF stickers, right? And surprisingly, it was just a test on our end. When people put their product or review their product, they add in those stickers and whatever not. So that comes as relatively zero cost to us, very scalable. There's a fun factor that becomes our product per se, right? Yeah. So that's a different take on things. Try, if you're on a digital model, try and think of a digital product which you can scale very, very fast. Yeah. So scalability is the aspect there. What about you, Justin? What's your take on this question? The differences.
The difference between physical and digital, is it?
Yeah.
That was the question, right? Okay.
Yeah. But both are marketing digitally. What is the differences of marketing it digitally?
Of course, other than, okay, he's talking about differences, right? Yeah, I think the cost is just the main one, right? Digital, you can just scale it up. Not just about free lah, but talking about a global business. Digital, we can scale it up to a global thing, but a physical one, even if you market it digitally, you still need to scale your offline operations digitally, no, physically, before you can scale globally. So that's one of the core differences. But I think what I can argue now, right, in this day and age, physical products, we can more and more transform it into a digital business model, as I've shown just now, right? And the differences are getting lesser and lesser, other than the physical, tangible goods side of things, like the logistics side of things. Other than that, a digital business model really more and more applies to both physical and digital. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, so let's go on to the other question. We have from Kenny. Yeah, Kenny. Kenny is a good friend from Singapore. So it says, what are some steps a traditional business need to take to get online presence? Example, study different social media channels like FB, Instagram, to see which ones are suitable. And how do they do simple testing to see what works and what doesn't? You want to take this?
To start off, right? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
From a traditional business.
From a traditional business standpoint, I think it takes some self-reflection. I don't think you have to go far in terms of where to start, in terms of platforms, like we're talking about platforms. Start with where does your audience hang out? Do people buy through search? Is yours a ready demand product where people search it up a lot? Or is it something that you really need to educate? You need to build that kind of brand. Then we can go to Facebook. Or is it a B2B thing where you can go on LinkedIn? But I will argue B2B also go on. B2B can also be on Facebook as well nowadays, right? Or is it a more younger crowd, more female oriented? You can go for Instagram. So it depends on where you are. But I think all this you can always start. In terms of how to start, steps to take, like we pointed out just now, the courses there, but you can always just try out, put 100 ringgit in a month, a day, right, on ads. Just try a few days, you would see for yourself how it works, right? I think that's the best way to test it, by getting your feet in the water. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, mine is kind of same like what Justin says, and I've always spoken about this in a previous session, is that try and look at what you have today. A lot of people underestimate the non-sexy stuff, which is your email and your current database. Let me give you an example, right? Having said all these things you want to do about Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO and whatnot, right? Actually, your most highest ROI one comes from your current customer and prospecting. A lot of people don't do email well. They just treat it like another telemarketing channel or something that people don't look at it anymore. But I'll tell you what, it's the most efficient, highest ROI channel when we talk about digital. Although email is so long already, but because it's a very important channel, right? Try and think about it. Why do you go to emails? You look for order confirmations. You look for your delivery info. You look for your bills, right? So email is still very important. And your website, start from those. So that would be my advice. I'm sure a traditional business would have a list of customer base. They would have a website at least, right? So use those two first, and then try and enhance or do some campaigns around your website and email. And then find out the numbers from there and then see what works and what doesn't. So that would be my advice. If you've got website, run some basic ads, Google ads on it. But if you don't have a website, even you've got emails, right? Just run a good email campaign. Try and craft the copy out, something that's relevant to your audience. You should be able to see a lot of response coming out from it if executed well. Yeah. And this is a very, very low cost way of doing it. Yeah. Something that you already have. Just work with what you have. That's my answer. Okay. Let's see. And the next question is from Wai Chung, right? How do professional services, I actually reposted his message, right? How do professional services like engineers, lawyers, accountants who essentially market themselves traditionally understand ROI or benefits of digital marketing?
Let me take this.
Okay.
Okay. I have a problem with lawyers because they can't run ads.
Doctors too.
doctors still can like skin clinics and all. They are getting
Yeah,
more
skin
commercial,
clinics. Yes, yes.
but there are
There are restrictions on what you can
restrictions.
advertise or
Right.
whatnot. Yes.
Um, but engineers, we have seen it. We have done it, right? We have seen it happen.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Lawyers spend a lot of time on SEO now, and now the SEO results are just saturated. It's almost impossible to rank anymore. Okay, but accountants. Let's talk about accountants. I've spoken to a few accountants. I have accounting clients as well. Two of them actually, right? And it's actually a very simple game of subscription model. Like accountants, just because they are professionals doesn't make them not commercial, right? They are still a business. So just think of lifetime value. Accountants charge subscription-based services. There's a huge subscription recurring revenue kind of thing going on here. So all about how do we get people interested or get people to trust you. One business model or business that I always look at is YYC. YYC advisory, right? They are huge on digital. What do? They never advertise their accounting services. Accounting services 600 ringgit a month, never, right? Their digital marketing is all about, hey, come to our SST workshop, come to our how to save 10% of your tax workshop, this workshop, that workshop, they don't even, sometimes they don't even touch on accounts or tax, they touch about business, entrepreneurship. Recently, they even started YYC Digital. I don't know how that went. The whole thing about digital marketing is not to sell accounting, is to get business people, which are their target audience, SME owners, get them into the door, get a conversation going, understand their business, and then only sell accounting services. So ultimately, they use digital marketing just to attract an audience. Let me talk about lawyers. There's this one lawyer I know. He used digital marketing never to sell law services because, again, it's not legal. But he always used digital marketing. Organic ways are by tagging people, sharing, to get people into law workshop. And it's very niche workshops, things like law for music copyright. And then you get an expert on that to come to the law firm. Musicians will all come in, record label people come in, and then he close deals. That's how he gets brand awareness up. Yeah.
So I think to answer Wai Chong here is that it goes back to the objective of your digital marketing. We shared about this a couple of times in the past, right? You can review our past sessions. Justin will put it on YouTube and the group later on, right? This FB group as well. If the objective, and I last time, I think I shared last week or 2 weeks back, this is very B2B businesses, engineers, lawyers, accountants, right? B2B businesses. Now in B2B, you will never ever close online. And it's very, very hard to close online. Like I said, the more expensive that thing is, the more complicated, the more intangible it is, the harder is it to close the sales online. So for most B2B businesses, right, the objective should be lead generation or brand awareness. Now, if you think on that context, right, then it's very clear of the ROI and benefits for digital marketing already. So when we're talking about brand awareness, it's really like, how much will I pay for one person to remember my service or my brand? Then you work it out, right? If it's lead generation, how much do I pay? And am I willing to pay for a single lead, right? And you think about that. So that would be the easiest way to understand the ROI. You don't need to overcomplicate matters, right? Today, you're already probably doing that yourselves already, which is maybe you pay people to cold call, you EDM them, email them, or you may even be putting out flyers. I have no idea, okay? So that is a cost there, right? So how much are you willing to actually pay per phone call coming in, or someone emailing you or asking you that? So understand that is the cost that you're willing to put in, and then what is your lifetime value of a successful customer if you close it? So that will be your ROI at the end of the day. Yeah. So that is for professional services, B2B and usually.
Do we have any more questions?
No, I think we've addressed it, most of them. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think we will end here. So every time we end this, we want to show, we want to invite you to this Digital Roundtable Facebook group. It's a Facebook group where I post all the past recordings. We'll share insights on even from the past Digital Roundtables, right? I think it's 10 plus hours of content already. Victor, we have been doing this quite some time, right?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so
I didn't know that. Congratulations.
I would think I would think if you actually watch through all of this, right, you would get a pretty good understanding of digital mindset, or how to get started in digital, or how to think about it at least. So go into the Facebook group, get in there, watch our past recordings, right? So that you don't miss out on that as well. One more thing is we want to add more value to you. This is how we want to, for people who want to get started or they want to improve their digital marketing. This for you. You can scan the QR code to see what we're offering. This is a free, completely free thing. It's a marketing assessment call and a free trial of our software. The software that we talked about just now is an automation and CRM software. So if you want to have a test drive at that, as long as you fulfill certain criteria, we will actually give you a trial version of the software. I also noticed there are some digital marketing agency or digital agency owners or people here. We want to talk to you, right? AXP is a marketing technology company. We are always looking for agency partners to work with to really bring digital forward. Do reach out to us. You can scan the QR code here as well if you want to try our software, or you can just contact me on Facebook. You just add in the digital marketing, Digital Roundtable Facebook group, right? You get in there, you can find my name. I post a lot there. Just message me. We want to get connected with you because we have some pretty interesting collaboration opportunities that we think can benefit you in terms of a revenue stream, and of course for us to push our marketing technology agenda forward, right? So that's all for today. Thank you everyone for attending our Digital Roundtable. We will see you next week.
Okay, thank you everyone, and enjoy the lifting of the MCO.